am the coordinator for Fenton United Methodist Church, which means I am the person that gets to make all the phone calls, set up the schedules, who is coming when, what time the meals are coming, what kind of meals we're having. So you name it, there's just that gamut of things that we have to do, and I kind of take care of that, so I'm that point person on it. And if there's ever any questions or anything happens, I'm the person that's the go-to. And I also spend the night a lot of times too, so that's one of my fun things that I like to do. Is one of the easiest jobs is spending the night, so I get to hang out with the families and get to know them. I've had a lot of fun things happen while we've been here. It's not just me doing this. Yes, I am the coordinator for it, but I can't do this alone. It takes an entire village to run our program at our church, and I know that it takes all of our host churches, which we have 2 churches that are our support churches. I am always visible for everything, and I meet the families, I welcome them to the church, and I get to know them on a whole different basis than just the volunteers get to know them. So sometimes, more often than not, they've touched my heart in a special way. From births to weddings to deaths to moving to new houses to new jobs. I'll get phone calls that say, hey, I got the job, or I get texts on Mother's Day from one of the families that was here. She always remembers to say Happy Mother's Day, thank you for what you did, or Merry Christmas, I remember when you. But like I said, it's not just me. It takes my support churches, it takes all of the volunteers here. I have at times 60 names on a list, not that everybody can do it, but I have about 60 volunteers that spend countless hours washing bedding. People don't even realize the little things that happen by the bedding being washed, the dishes getting done, the shopping for lunches, because we have to have lunches for them for the next day. Running out at the last minute because baby's sick and needs medication. We have people that I can call in a heartbeat to do that if we needed to. But I do try to spend as many nights as I can to get to know the families. They feel safe. It's safe when you get to know someone and they know your story, and they're not going to tell your story, but they're going to treat you in a way that you want to be treated. And one of the nice things that comes out every time we have Family Promise from our families is that we treat people like people. They're not homeless people. They don't have the word homeless over their heads. They're happy. They're here. They're safe. They're warm, or they're cold with the air conditioning going on crazy hours at night. They're fed. Their children are safe, and they know that they have a place to lay their head every night, and they're not in a van, at a motel, at a campground, sleeping in their car. It breaks my heart. We've had families come in that have been in their cars and their vans living all summer. We've had families who've had to leave with just the clothes on their back, families with fires, you name it, I think we've had it. There are so many best things. I could talk for hours about it. I think one of the best things is that you know that you are doing something to make this world better, that there's a bigger picture. It's not just your church doing it, it is a bigger picture. We are giving a hand up, not a handout. We are encouraging, we are loving somebody else, and that's what we were taught to do. And we should love one another and treat everybody the way you want to be treated, with respect, with love, with dignity. And I think that's what I enjoy about this. And I enjoy those little phone calls I get, or little texts that said, hey, I got an A on my test, Miss Denise, or, by the way, this time this is not what you said it was. So, those little things. It's just those tiny little things. Sending Halloween candy because we knew that one family the little ones would go trick-or-treating, but not in the area didn't want to in the area that they were going to be in. So we made up great big trick-or-treat bags and sent them, and to get that little text that said, thank you. Nothing else but a thank you, and that made it all worth it. It was our first Family Promise. For me, that is the most memorable. I can remember it was so cold out. I remember the families that came in they would go, and I was so new to this, I wasn't sure what to expect. I didn't know what they were coming in with. Are you coming in with suitcases? What are you thinking is going to happen here? Because we were so brand new at doing it. And I think back to that first time and the fact that I watched them run out and get the clothes for the next day out of the trunk of their car, and playing games till 3 in the morning with the teenagers and laughing, and then realizing that this was put on my heart for a reason. This was put on our church's heart for a reason. I think that's my number one thing. Okay, so before the families get here, our custodian, John, he'll go through and he cleans. We have 5 rooms downstairs in this building, which we know that somehow when Pastor Truman had this building built, there were 5 rooms and we have 2 showers. It's just so weird how this all happened. But John gets in, he cleans the rooms, he gets rid of the tables and the chairs. He'll bring in, if there's any couches or anything that we have, make sure each room has a TV in it. We have little dressers that were made out of old shelving units that we had, so the families have somewhere to keep their belongings, something that's theirs, somewhere they can count on. So he gets that ready, gets the refrigerator out, gets our dinner area ready with all the tables, and then when we come in on Sunday, we start at 12:15 and we're out by 1:30. All the beds have to be brought in from the trailer, because my husband usually meets the trailer at 8 a.m. at the church. We have stuff that goes on until after 12, so we wait until then to set the rooms up. Transfiguration Lutheran Church comes, we get the beds out of the trailer. It's a well-oiled machine. They start yelling, how many in this room? Who goes in here? So I have all the rooms planned out, who's going where, especially with the showers, so that I know if there's little ones that they might need the showers late at night or whatever. We do that. We get the showers taken care of with all the towels and everything there. We set the towels out. We get the dinner tables ready. We set the tables. I always like fresh flowers on the table because I think that's home. So I make sure we have fresh flowers on the tables, the linens are on the tables. We get everything out of storage because we have just a small storage area to keep everything. So it's pulling everything out of storage because you're not sure if you're going to need you're going to need diapers, or you're going to need any of the baby high chairs. Are you going to need a pull-out bed? The little fold ones for the babies. So there's so many things that we have to think about and prepare. I like everything to be the same color. It's kind of a little control maybe, I don't know. But we make sure that all the bedding is set in there, that there's warm blankets, that there's extra bedding out. So make sure that doors all have what the rooms are. We put up welcome signs. Sometimes we have little baskets of things for the families when they come in, especially if you have little kids. We have bubbles and stuff like that they can play with. And then it's time to meet the families. Right around 5:30 they get here. You might graduate a family out during your week, so we always try to have a cake and balloons and give them something little for their new home. But then you're right, we make sure all 15 beds are taken off of 15 or 17, I can't remember how many we have. All the beds have to be taken off of the trailer so that we have it ready at a moment's notice. And the last time we hosted Family Promise, we did have a new family come in. And it's hard for them to come in. It's difficult. You're depending on somebody else for everything that you really need. As much as we think that it's easy for people to come and say, hey, do you have food? Do you have this? It's really hard for people to ask for help. And even with their little children, we've had families with babies, infants. We've had a new baby. We've had special needs children, and it's very difficult. Some do not hand their children off to you and say, here is my child, take it for 15, 20 minutes, please play with it. And sometimes we have to say, hey, would you like us to, we've got coloring books, we can paint, we'll go outside and do this, so you have a couple of minutes to yourself, because when you're at your own house, you can walk into another room and just let the world go by for a while. It's their home. And that's what I tell them. This is your house. Yeah, it is. It's their house while they're here. And it should be their house. They should feel comfortable to come in. And if they need to go in the room and just scream at the top of their lungs because it's just been one of those days, they're not going to get treated any different because we do that in our own home.